Hey guys, welcome back to Civilian Tactical. Today I'm going to show you a rifle that the ATF wants you to think is actually two guns, and we're 25 seconds away from shooting it. Why? Well, I've owned this thing for over a year, so I think it's high time we figure out why the ATF is calling this two guns.
Because it's the ATF and they're dumb.
Why, yes, dear viewer, I couldn't agree more, but I'm trying to figure out, is there a method to their madness?
I mean, it's the ATF, so no.
Okay, that's all true, but let me finish this video, because in this video we're gonna figure out how the heck this thing can safely fire on a regular AR-15 lower, because it shoots 50 BMG. And last of all, a few reasons why this rifle might actually not be for you, because it's not for everybody. But before we dive into that, first up we got our triple cinder block challenge, and we're gonna save our triple water gun challenge for the end. That was beefy, and our slow-mo looked so good. And just looking at the rubble, we can see that it tore through all three cinder blocks, which is pretty dang interesting because that's a lot more damage than a standard AR-15 could do. It does not go through all three like our 50 BMG AR-15. And to be fair, I don't even think we can call it an AR-15 at this point. But how is this thing unique? Well, it's made by Big Kahuna Firearms. The gun is called the Raptor 50, and as you can see right there, this is just a single feed bolt action rifle. But again, it uses those AR-15 lower parts. That's one of the reasons why this is incredibly affordable to buy. That also means that unlike a regular AR-15, we have our Davidson Defense as an example here. It's not going to auto-load the next round, which is what you use the magwell for. So how does it work with our 50 BMG when it comes to a magwell? Well, this rifle actually doesn't need it. You could have it, but Big Kahuna Firearms, since they manufacture so many parts, decided to make a dedicated lower for this guy, which I have here. I also have a regular AR-15 version, which I don't have with me at the moment, but it's just for aesthetics that they removed it, since you're not really going to be using that magwell if you're gonna mount this upper to your gun. Now, for all the talk of this thing going on a regular AR-15 lower, you don't want to put it on your AR-15 lower. You see, a regular AR-15 has stuff like a buffer tube and a buffer spring and all sorts of little parts that are required for making this thing semi-auto. Again, with our Davidson Defense rifle as the standard or stock AR-15. And with the Big Kahuna Firearms Raptor 50, you really do not need a buffer spring because this thing isn't returning automatically. You're going to be doing that yourself. However, some features like the safety do in fact work, and you're going to want to make sure that those are installed. So why the heck even use an AR-15 lower if you're not going to use a bunch of the parts? Well, the simple reason is using AR-15 lowers makes the Big Kahuna Firearms extremely affordable to build, because you can grab stuff like a fixed stock, which you're definitely going to want with all the stout recoil. You can grab stuff like standard AR-15 grips, which are readily available, and those are going to be really cheap, making a full build cheaper if you use the AR-15 lower as the attachment point. But why the heck does the ATF say that this is actually two guns? Well, let's take a closer look, and then we'll get to blasting our 3 water jugs. Generally, according to the ATF, they find that on bolt-action rifles, they consider that upper receiver to be the gun. But because Big Kahuna Firearms designed a bolt-action that goes onto an AR-15 lower for affordability, the ATF said, actually, you need to register that AR-15 lower and the upper because it's a bolt-action. Now, you really cannot fire this upper unless you have an AR-15 lower. So it's super weird that when the ATF reviewed this specific device, they said, yeah, this is a gun, because it honestly can't fire without that AR-15 lower. And this isn't something that Big Kahuna Firearms decided to do. Heck, they would much appreciate it if the ATF would be sane and normal.
Stop it. Get some help.
But they're at the mercy of the ATF just as much as the rest of us. What's cool is these barrels are actually factory new. A lot of people use this specific setup for precision long-range shooting because it's a bolt gun, but it's not expensive. Usually you're going to be looking at $10,000 for a 50 BMG if it's fancy and decked out with some of the best gear. But this thing costs less than some guys' AR-15s. I say some because it would be a really nice AR-15, but it is affordable for a 50 BMG. BMG. And as we dig into the ammo can to grab some more freedom seeds for our 50 BMG, I wanted to give you guys a piece of advice. When I shoot 50 BMG, I actually do double ear pro. This is because 50 BMG is really loud. My ears will still ring if I just use foam earplugs or over-ear earplugs. And what's even more is I don't slide my glasses, which you should have glasses of some sort when you're shooting. I don't slide them between the seal because that breaks it and makes it louder. Instead, I just rest them on top. It looks a little bit funny, but it makes it a lot quieter. Now that we know how crazy the ATF is and the ins and outs of this weird and wacky firearm, let's do our triple water jug blast. And I want to know which type of slow-mo you guys like better, the quick ones or the longer ones. The last one was 256 times slowed down. This one we're going to do in 24x slowed down. And I want to know what you guys think. Do you think something like this Raptor 50 BMG is a legitimately good thing to have in your arsenal, or do you think it's more of a gimmick? Personally, I think it's great as long as the speed doesn't matter, because it is a bolt action. It's going to give you the capabilities of 50 BMG, including all the really fancy ammos that could disable vehicles, let's say. Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe for more.